I did want to preface this by saying that I am not a Muslim. I'm not any religion at all. But it bothered me when you were talking about Islam being not a religion of peace. Muhammad was a very peaceful man.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, well, if you read,
No,
yes,
no.
and he had a great respect for women. His wives were given a great deal of power over him. And
have you been reading Karen Armstrong? Is that where this is coming from?
No. I've read Karen Armstrong, but no. And, you know, what's happening now with Islam is it's bastardized, just like all the other religions. But it bothers me that you
So you're saying the true Islam, if we could only return to it, would just nullify all of my concerns about Islam?
I don't think any religion is a good religion, but it bothers me that you singled Islam out, and that you said that, you know, that actually that Muhammad was a peaceful man.
Okay,
and
well,
that
Muhammad, who knows who Muhammad was? I mean, Muhammad's actually closer to history than Jesus and many of the other patriarchs, so we know more about him. But obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty about what's factual. But the example of Muhammad, as held in Islam universally, is not of a pacifist. He was a conquering warlord who spread the faith with the sword quite successfully. And the expectation is this is a way of being in the world that is by example totally justified. Now this is different from Jesus. Jesus did not spread the faith with a sword. He was essentially a hippie who got crucified. Now that's a different example, and it's a difference that is a benefit to Christianity at the moment, because Christianity, in Christianity, you can come up with a rationale for saying, listen, it's not about conquering the world. It's not about winning in this life. We just got to wait for Jesus to come back and get raptured. But you can't really do that in Islam. Christianity has a line like, render unto God that which is God, and unto Caesar that which is Caesar's. And that line from Matthew, has done huge work to separate Christianity from claim upon terrestrial power. Now, it's imperfect work, and there are a lot of crazy Christians who want terrestrial power, but at least there's some rationale within Christianity for doing that. That rationale doesn't exist in Islam. There's no line in the Quran which says, listen, guys, this is not about politics. It's not about controlling people's lives. You can be privately religious and let everyone else flourish.
But the subjugation of women was not something that Muhammad was
interested in. You're just not. Please just go read the Quran and read some significant. Okay, well then surely you read the part in the Quran which talked about husbands scourging or whipping, depending on the translation, their wives who are disobedient. Now,
that's in Judaism also.
What was that? Okay, so it's in Judaism, but I will grant you that the worst books ever written were in the Old Testament. Okay, but there's a reason why Jews are not stoning their wives for adultery at this moment in history, and we can talk about those reasons. What I said about Islam was intended to counter exactly the presuppositions you are now bringing to me. I don't have time to do it here, but I can only invite you to read more on the subject, because we are deluding ourselves with a lot of wishful thinking. I mean, we are desperate to believe that all of the problems in the world are of our own making. If we could just spread more money around and behave better on the global stage, people will treat us well, and that everyone wants the same thing, and it's all a matter of just more education, and this religion is intrinsically benign. It's just not true. And Osama bin Laden, I've said this, but I think I should say it again. The real problem is that Osama bin Laden is giving a very plausible version of the faith. Now, you can split a few hairs and say, well, listen, apostates shouldn't be killed unless they speak kind of endlessly against the faith. But the penalty for apostasy is death under Islam. And there's no school of Islam which says, oh, no, we don't mind apostates. It just doesn't exist. There's no Reformed Judaism version of Islam. That's a huge problem. It's a problem that has to be solved by Muslims. That we can't help them solve it by just lying to ourselves about the nature of their religion.